What will the world look like for future generations? Well, one would like to imagine a futuristic oasis. This might not be possible because of the single greatest threat to our environment, which is the birth of more children. The question is, how many humans can the Earth support? As shown by the graph provided by an extremely well-known organization, the United Nations, the population has been steadily increasing over time. In as little as 30 years, we will be over 9 billion humans on planet Earth. This led to the interest in the effects of which this tremendous amount of growth would happen. These negative effects include overfarming, deforestation, poor sanitation, and loss of resources. The initial discovery of those effects led into the question, how critical of an issue is global overpopulation, and what can be put into play to remedy the growing issue? There are currently 7.53 billion people in the world, and this number is expected to increase. Global overpopulation is when there are too many people for this Earth to support. Overpopulation is an epidemic which will be proven detrimental in the near future. Awareness along with legislation needs to be imposed against it to resolve the gradually increasing situation. Through Mark R. Montgomery's The Urban Transformation of the Developing World and Richard Blanco's Looking for the Gulf Motel, a similar idea of overpopulation devastating the Earth repeatedly is present. From the year 2000 to 2024, the population was expected to increase by more than 1.76 billion people. With this much growth, overpopulation is sure to take jobs and create many more unneeded issues for the society. Based on this, clearly, the entire world is not populated and developed yet. There is not much more room for growth and expansion, but one can imagine the devastating drawbacks which would occur if the entirety of the Earth was populated. To continue on, with a continuously growing society, all must be cognizant of our current existence and our actions, because it will burden the future generations to come. Richard Blanco alludes to the continued urbanization of the planet, which would cause emotional stress for the narrator in his poem. Due to his childhood memories being rapidly replaced with housing, it is clear that the growth of overpopulation and our experience, which will create an unsettled environment and civilization for all. With more people comes the need for more resources, which is one of the largest issues regarding overpopulation. The Earth has a limited surface and therefore has limited resources on its surface. Non-renewable resources would be needed in excessive amounts to be able to support and provide for the growing population. Humans overexploit natural resources for their very own comforts. This will soon lead to the scarcity of the resources, resulting in minimal use and accessibility to them. It is not clear if the Earth can tolerate that type of pressure since non-renewable resources do not reproduce rapidly. The crowded town of Kenya is projected at an extremely high growth rate. With this, many are crammed into small, unsanitary towns as shown, and this results in detrimental effects to one's environment and one's current health. The land and city infrastructure cannot keep up with the growth of people currently. Solutions. A plausible solution would be to elect politicians who acknowledge the impacts of overpopulation. While this idea is appealing the most, there will always be people who have differing opinions on the candidates and will not vote for the same politician. If a politician as such was elected, though, there would be media coverage brought to the issue of global overpopulation, which would help with the next solution, which is a law restricting the number of children to one. This civil solution has been put into play in many different countries, such as China, and with this idea comes many struggles. One would be getting the bill passed. But this, however, can be fixed with the media coverage by the debate that will be occurring within society. A disparity in childbirth ratios will also occur. As seen, the average American family has roughly 2 children, and that's been pretty consistent over the years. This, limiting it to 1, will break down the amount of children per family, which will create a lower population. But as seen in China, there has been 30 million more men than female based upon putting this solution into play. But another idea is that lowering the population reduces poverty. The government will not have to pay and support and provide for the poor in their society. And there's my works cited.
Okay, a couple of questions for you, Chloe. The first one is, What information did you need before you began your research, and then how did that information shape your research?
Some information I needed before I began my research was the effects of overpopulation. Although I did only brush upon them within my presentation, I incorporated it into my perspectives. Like the overpopulated countries focused more on the poor sanitation, which was an effect of overpopulation, while while the other perspective focused more on the loss of resources within society. And this shaped my research by providing a decent layout that will allow for easy transition throughout.
Okay, and then your second one would be, if you had more time, what additional research would you conduct related to the issue?
If I had more time, I would dive deeper into my solution, because currently that solution is present in many societies, such as China is one of the large examples. And there have been some downfalls, such as the childbirth disparity, which I discussed. And I would like to see how that would be put into play in societies such as America, maybe England, and how that would affect us.